Call it to order.
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from December 13th.
I'll second it. Motion's made and seconded. Any questions on the meeting, the minutes?
Nope.
And Pam, you got something for us to sign?
Yep, later.
Okay.
Just don't let me forget.
We can appoint a new chair if anybody wants to do that.
I could do it if we want.
Well, we got to vote on our minutes thing.
We already did that.
Good.
We approved it, but we didn't vote.
Oh.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Well,
I
you want
can
to
do-
keep being the chair, Paul?
I would,
I would do it.
Oh,
you want to do it?
I'd try it out.
okay.
We need a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to appoint Dan Omen as chair for 2024.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Treasurer's report.
All right, if you're in your packet, we're on page 3. Otherwise, Pam has it up on the screen as well here in person. For the month of December 2023, we had a beginning balance in our checking account of $116,863, less our expenses of $27,588. And then we had additional revenues of $7,103, leaving us a balance in our checking of $96,378. Then we have the addition of our UBS investment accounts, $464,704, giving the township total assets of $561,082. And then moving down to the middle section of our expenses and revenue summary. Our expenses were down year over year by $3,329. And just a couple small items here. Our legal fees were less compared to last year, and then we had some cemetery mowing that we paid last year in December. I'm sure it was for during the warmer seasons, but just some timing there compared to prior year.
We might have some mowing this December.
Yeah, that's true. And then our revenues, they were actually down $56,800, and this again, the majority was kind of a timing item. Our second half property taxes from the county came in December of 2022 last year, but this year they came in November of 23, so just a month-over-month difference there. And then last year we also had a reimbursement check from Wholesome for a variance hearing of almost $6,000. So those are your differences year over year, otherwise pretty quiet. And then moving down to the bottom section, Pam, do you want to scroll the screen down to the
Yep.
bottom section? Perfect. So for the year ending 2023, we overspent our expenses by $25,000, but we also overcollected revenue compared to our budget by $14,431. So we did have a slight deficit on the year of $10,700, but we did, talking with the board up here, we did get some substantial items done as well. We got some substantial tree trimming done for around $25,000. And then one of our roads, Geneva, got seal coated, which we won't need to do for another couple years. So $50,000 of kind of projects we got done this year, and then only ending with a deficit of around $11,000. So all in all, pretty good year for 2023. Any questions for me?
No, it sounds good.
All right, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You know, Keisha, why don't we talk about what me and you were talking about before, just so people understand. Our total money in the bank from the end of 22 to the end of 23 dropped by about $10,000, right?
Correct, yep.
Yeah, I just want people to know, because people wonder, why isn't this road fixed? Why isn't that road fixed? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? We ain't really running a lot of money ahead each year for roads. For '24, we increased the budget $40,000, which will probably end up being $30,000 with inflation on everything else. So just give you an idea, what are we looking at for Pioneer, Dan? Probably pushing $400,000?
Yeah, it could be 300 or, yeah.
Yeah, so just Pioneer, the blacktop part is pushing 400 grand. And if we're only growing our accounts by about 30,000 a year, you can kind of see where we're at. We do have another line item in our budget though, where we're putting, it'd be more money than that, putting away for roads. But just to give you an idea that we're not flush with cash, in case somebody's wondering why this or that isn't getting done.
Should we pay the bills?
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills totaling $7,217.76.
I'll second it.
Anybody got any qualms with the bills? Everybody got their salary too.
I see Rumka hauled some dirt in when they graded, huh, Pam?
Yes, actually, they gave us the dirt for free,
Oh, they did.
so
Okay.
that's all labor.
I kind of figured they did, because that part on this west end, I was wondering where they're gonna get the dirt from to fill in the mess there, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so that looks okay, I was kind of looking at that. Okay, done with the bills?
Yeah, I don't see anybody see anything that bothers them? Because this, to me, looks good. All in favor, say aye.
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 Sumento is here to.
Oh, you wanna come on up? If you wouldn't mind using the,
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you very much.
Talk into it and see if it's working first.
Hello, can you
Yeah,
hear?
it's
Okay.
working, okay.
Do you want me to sing?
You can.
yeah.
You
can
really don't
say-
want me to sing, I apologize. Good evening, and thank you very much. I will be brief. My reason for being here tonight is primarily to make an introduction and to start building a good working relationship with you. Every 10 years following the census, jurisdictions are redefined in many cases, i.e. congressional districts, legislative districts, precincts, wards, and also the Met Council districts. And our districts were redrawn last May, at the end of the legislative session. It was one of the final things the legislature did before adjourning. I originally represented Old District 11, which went from the south end of Maplewood north to Linwood Township, just west of Forest Lake. And it included a number of cities and 2 townships. And I represented that district for 4 years. And I reapplied for appointment to the Met Council a year ago. And following the redrawing of the lines, I now represent what is New District 12. And New District 12 goes from the north end of Woodbury, and includes almost all of Woodbury, but not quite, goes south to Hampton, and then it goes from Rosemont east to about the St. Croix River. I have 14 cities, 9 townships, and it represents a population of a little over 200,000. So it's a new district for me. I live in the very south end of Maplewood, which happens to be included in this new district. So there's a little sliver of Ramsey County, and then there's a chunk of Washington and a chunk of Dakota County. My background isn't in government. I'm a former, many moons ago, a former elementary teacher in the Wilmer School District out in western Minnesota. I taught first and third graders. Then I went to work for the old MEA and what became Education Minnesota, working with and for teachers. I tried retirement in 2010. I flunked a few months later and got a job working as a director of outreach for Assumption Catholic Church in downtown St. Paul. I did that for 5 years, tried retirement again, flunked that, and applied for the Met Council. So that's what brings me here tonight. I want to tell you, I'm frequently asked, who are you accountable for? Who do you represent? And that's a kind of a complicated question to answer, excuse me. I'm appointed by the governor, as are my colleagues. There are 16 of us who represent 16 different districts, plus our chair, Charles Zelli. So to a great extent, I'm accountable to the governor, but I'm also accountable to the legislature. The Minnesota Senate will hopefully someday confirm our appointment. But I think more importantly, I'm accountable to townships, cities, counties, and the families and businesses who live and grow and thrive, hopefully, in all of these municipalities. So my goal is to try and build relationships and do the best I can at being a good listener and helping connect the dots so that we can all work together and all live together in a healthy region. I want to tell you that I almost didn't make it on time here tonight. Surrey decided that she wasn't going to give me directions to Great Cloud Island Drive. Instead, I ended up on the trail, and I got to 9910, what I thought was going to be the town hall, and it clearly wasn't. So I turned around and came back and figured it out. And I want you to know that I left your wildlife intact. I met the acquaintance of 3 deer, but they're fine. I won't get into a lot of nitty-gritty issues tonight. Other than that, we had a Met Council late this afternoon, and we had an information presentation on from our research department. And following each sentence, they do a census, excuse me. They do a great job of analyzing the census as it relates to our 7 counties, and they go down to the local level. And they've made it user-friendly. So if you are ever interested in learning more about what happened in the 2020 census in a real granular sort of level, you can go to www.metrocouncil.org/census2020, and that'll give you lots of information. It was really fascinating. And being full-blooded Irish, I was kind of glad to see that the Irish still kind of have some influence in this region. So sorry to anybody who finds the Irish offensive. I understand. I've lived with them all my life. Just as a little bit more background, and then I'll shut up and answer any questions you might have. I serve on the Transportation Committee. I moved to that committee from the Environment Committee this last time around because I felt that the East Metro area needed a stronger voice on transportation. And I am a big fan of buses and bus rapid transit, the express buses that get people to places quickly. I have some reservations as it relates to light rail transit, and I try to express them in a constructive sort of way, but sometimes my Irish gets in the way. I can be a little ornery at times, but as a council, those of us that are currently serving have inherited some challenging issues, and we're doing our best to work our way through them in as coherent and clear, transparent way as we can. I also serve on the Community Development Committee, and that committee is responsible for working with townships and cities on planning, and we're in the process of prepping for the 2050 plan. And there is a huge lobbying effort on coming up with ways to make the process more adaptable to townships and smaller communities. The current system as it is I think, cumbersome, and it expects too much. It just doesn't make sense. I serve on the Audit Committee. I represent the council on the Environmental Quality Board. I represent the council on the Governor's Council for an Age-Friendly Minnesota, and I work on a number of work groups. I'm happy to come out and meet one-on-one with you in a work session, in a formal meeting with staff. Whoever wants to meet, just let me know, and I'll give you my card so that you know how to get a hold of me. If you ever get a call from me, for some reason, my Met Council phone identifies me as Desmond. I'm not Desmond. I don't know Desmond. I don't know any Desmonds, but I do know that this Desmond is from North Carolina and has kids enrolled in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District. So I can tell you that much.
Sue,
Yes,
it's a pleasure to meet you.
thank you very much, thanks. Can I?
When you were talking about the, I'm thinking it was like the comprehensive plan, is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Is that the part you're gonna try and make less cumbersome for
yes,
us?
yes. I can't make promises
Yeah.
I can't keep, but there are several of us working really hard on that.
Because the problem we have is, this township really doesn't change. And every time we gotta do another comp plan, really nothing's changed, but it costs us $8,000 to quote that,
Yeah.
you know.
$8,000 you can use on your roads.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if we end up with a crazy winter, you can use it on snow plowing.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly, I totally get it.
I mean, Cottage Grove, somebody else like that, it's not a big deal, but for us,
Yep.
yeah, it's a big deal.
Totally big deal. And we're doing what we can to help with that.
Okay.
Yep. We also want to be more engaged with you ahead of the plan so that it's not, we're not springing a surprise on you. So just know that we're trying really hard.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And like I said, anytime, I won't come and just hang out at meetings. I'm not very good at that. But anytime you want me to come in, I don't have to speak every time. If you want me to come and hear a presentation, I'm happy to do that. And I will kind of follow along on your beautiful website. I love the history that you have on your website. As a former teacher, it's a great story. So thank you.
How you related to Bruce and Dan?
Yes, Dan is my brother-in-law. Bruce was my husband.
Oh, Bruce was your husband?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
all right.
yes.
I worked with Dan. Okay.
Oh, well, you can tell me some stories. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we supposed to be letting Omen run this meeting now that we voted him in?
Through, I'll start next.
You'll start next month? Okay, all right, just,
Reports of committees, meetings, and events. I don't see any planning commissioners. We didn't have one this week. I came down here and the gate was locked. So I went home and
You didn't get the email?
I got it when I got home. So if there's not a meeting, there's not a meeting. Did you try to get to the meeting? Planning commission meeting?
oh,
Her and Tom both got to, learned it like hours before, like
Yeah.
barely, so
Yeah.
we're getting them on code red.
So the next board meeting is Wednesday, February 14th at 7 o'clock. The next planning commission meeting, Monday, February 12th at 6:30. Anything else?
Just for on the record, I guess I met with SEH for the roads, so that was a meeting that I had, and we should be expecting a lot of information for the February, and they're gonna show up to our February meeting, so we should have a road presentation for Pioneer. See what kind of sticker shock we get.
I think we're prepared for it now.
Yeah.
I don't think, not like a year ago.
Yeah.
And then one other one I wanted to bring up was the Board of Audit meeting that we have to do. Yeah, I think we can schedule it sometime in February. I don't know if we want to tack it on to the February 14th meeting, come a half hour early or something, or I don't know how long, or if we want a separate date.
They can be pretty wild.
Well, the Board of Audit's pretty
No,
calm.
Board of Audit
That's where we just look at a couple bills and say,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the
Steer.
easy one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The 14th would work for me. Wait, isn't it?
that's,
Yeah.
that's the town board meeting at 7. I don't know if we want to do 6:30 or 6:45 for,
Valentine's Day?
you want to do 6 o'clock? Does that work?
I don't know if we need that long.
You taking your honey out on Valentine's Day, or?
Yeah. That's the only
didn't-
conflict here.
I didn't
Valentine's Day.
I didn't last year.
How about 6:30?
6:30, okay.
Yeah, we'll go
I mean, it's,
quicker.
yeah, 4 or 5 bills.
Okay,
Okay, 6:30 on February 14th will be Board of
Okay.
Audit.
well, the next one's mine, the revision ordinance 49-2. Pam sent that latest one we had, that had all our changes marked in red and redone, that we all approved, and that we sent it to Dave Snyder. He wasn't overly thrilled with us. where under interim use permits, we had nothing listed. We were just gonna take them one at a time. He told us you don't wanna do that, because he said it places no limitations on it, and he said the courts would look at it the same way. So he suggested redoing that whole thing, so,
So you want some examples on there?
yeah, he wants examples on there. But then I was looking at it, and I wanna look at the whole thing even more, because basically, I haven't looked at it too much because I've been sick, but looking at it, interim uses are meant to be an interim use till something else happens. Like, we let you have a mobile home on the property till the new dwelling is done. We let you have the existing dwelling till the new dwelling's done, something like that. Okay, when I plagiarized before out of Denmark's, under interim uses, they only had like 2 things. I mean, they had about, 100 things listed in there, Pam? I mean, it's just unbelievable. But under interim uses, if I remember right, they had 2. Everything else was a certificate of compliance. So I'm gonna look into that. So I'll be working on that
Yeah,
unless
there's hardly any.
interim uses listed on
What'd you
there.
call it? Certificate of what?
Certificate of compliance.
Look it up, yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm coming from another direction, merging Washington County's Development Code, Chapter 2, into our Ordinance 49. Pam and I have been working on that on and off being sick, and that's, we knew it'd be a big project. And a whole bunch of stuff in that Chapter 2 refer to getting a certificate of compliance. So what me and her were talking about is, I did a bunch of work on that, merging the 2, and now she's straightening out my mess and proofreading in that. And now this thing came back from the attorney, so I figured I'd work on that part of it, she'll work on the other part, and we don't know if we'll come back with doing this twice. You know, if we get this certificate of compliance thing done and the permitting and that, get that part done, and then pass that as our zoning ordinance. And then when we get the county one merged, turn around and bring it back and do it again. It might do that, or if we get them both done at the same time, maybe we can do them all at one time. That's kind of up in the air. So that's where we're at with that. Any questions?
It kinda stinks that's not the advice or the route that we got told.
Well,
They never really said anything about a certificate of compliance.
no, you know, I kind of wonder if he missed the ball a little bit on that, because basically everything he told us was, it was quit issuing conditional use permits. That was his number 1 goal. Don't do that. He said, use interim use permit instead. Well, now after reading other stuff, interim use permit might not be what he really meant. He might have meant basically give him something other than a conditional use permit. So I'm thinking we'll probably end up with certificates of compliance, just for the simple reason, if you look at Denmark's zoning ordinance, I've been using theirs because, from before, I haven't done anything on this yet. They seem to have their act together pretty good down there. And everything they listed for this oddball stuff was certificate of compliance. And then remember that wording in there where you could add other stuff if you thought you had something the same, you could fill out a form and send it in? I think we need something like that, because like Dave said, if you have nothing in there, you listed no limitations, no examples, no nothing, which pretty much leaves the door open for anything else, and he put in there, and the courts would view it the same. So, anyway, that's where we're at on that.
I have to say, I received it from Dick at about 100+ pages. And it's getting less and less, but I'm like 50% through it.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time.
See, our zoning ordinance was kind of, let's just say A, B, C, D, E, F. The county's was, if you compare it to ours, it's A, E, F, G, G, C, D, so it wasn't, so it's mix and match. So basically what I did, I followed the county's format, because theirs is that thick, ours is this thick. So I plastered everything from ours into the county's. Okay, and then tried to move stuff around in an orderly fashion to match the county. And I got that part done, and then I sent it to Pam. Here you go, get busy, so.
That's why I haven't seen you outside at all this fall.
Pretty much. gave it to me over the phone.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I emailed it to her.
There you
Yep.
go. Virus is over the email.
Yeah. So that's that.
And that's the update
Yeah.
on the revisions to 49.2. So we're done with that?
Yep.
Well, I visited Mo's property. When was that? A couple of weeks ago?
December 12th.
What?
I think it was December 12th.
It was a Friday.
Yeah, it was a nice day for December.
A lot of nice December days.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff you gotta work on.
And since you were there, I hired a person from, he's laid off from Global Specialties. He worked a couple of days, got called back to work, but then said I could use his Bobcat after that. Got a dumpster there, and he threw out things in there. All the things you saw, I think were taken care of, what you mentioned. I say it took 2 loads of scrap metal in after you were there, and one was just this afternoon.
Did you clean up some of that broken glass?
Pardon me?
Some of that broken glass?
Oh, yeah. Most of that was just hand picking.
Yeah.
And then on January 3rd, your inspect guy was there. I think these are pictures he took.
You still have all those bolts?
There was one that was actually John Bradley's boat that he moved to your sister's house, and he offered a lady $200 for it. I don't believe we ever paid for it, but after your mother sold her house, it ended up at my daughter's house on 99th Street. After she sold her house, it ended up on my property for a few years. I didn't want it. I had it for sale for all summer, but since I didn't sell it, the boy who was involved about a week ago and just destroyed it and threw it in the dumpster.
Yeah, it was, I think it was in rough shape. I think it leaked, it had, the rivets were,
I believe that one was in floatable condition with a motor that could be tuned up, but it didn't sell anything. I thought the decent thing to do was get at least $200 and give the lady $200 that she would vote. But that didn't happen.
you mean John Bradley didn't pay?
I really don't think so.
I'm kidding.
You know him better than I do.
I do.
Okay, so what's your plan? You know, I'm looking back, you were in here last fall, about December, November, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, your neighbors are complaining, the place looks like hell. Okay, we told you, we didn't expect much to happen. In December, January, February, March, we didn't expect it to go freeze to death in the winter working on that. And then we told you, come along, May 1st, June, there should be some substantial improvement. Well, there wasn't no substantial improvement come May 1st. All summer's gone by, you had June, July, August, September, October, November, December this year, you had 7 more months. Not a lot of improvement's been done. Your neighbors shouldn't have to look at all that, your collectibles. Okay, so here's what I'd like to see. Our best thing is voluntary compliance. The last thing we really wanted to do was end up in court with you. We ended up in court with Culo because he wouldn't comply, and we will do that again, because your neighbors shouldn't have to put up with that. Okay, so before we go to court, I'm okay, I have to ask the other two, give you more time, but I want you to come in here every month and prove you've done something. What I mean by prove you've done something is dumpster receipts, scrapyard receipts, something to show junk is being removed.
I
Not just verbal that, well, I moved this hunk of tin from there to there and I crunched the boat.
I've got receipts for this last summer and fall, probably a dozen from scrapyard.
We're at a point though, right? You got talked to, Paul came out again, and then you explained, you tried to do some more stuff, and then our code enforcement officer's out. We still have a bunch of items that are non-compliance. So, yeah, you're working towards stuff, you might think, but we have residents paying a ton of money in taxes that you're not in compliance and they shouldn't have to live by that.
The joint driveway that I have with the neighbors, there were some pictures here NDOT inspectors took, and that was taken care of.
We have, this right here is the most recent stuff of,
This is just,
and if you scroll up, you can see how many line items are against these are all things against the ordinance.
Yeah, I've had it established by secretary that, like a legally licensed boat, my grandson uses it with his friends, and they like to park it next to the joint driveway so they can pull it out without being stuck back where it could be unseen. It gets muddy, and with just a two-wheel drive truck, it's hard to get out.
This list right here, you have it, right? You received this list?
I
No,
think
not
I,
yet.
Not yet?
I needed to
Yeah.
hear from you to send it to him.
yeah, I could
Oh.
appreciate another copy. So, my daughter had a plan of action she submitted. She gave me one and then it was short, so she took it back. But I think you all have one that was.
I think if we're to do anything, I think my opinion would be to get him this copy. And next month, we expect him to show up with a plan and a date for when this stuff's done. And then if that date comes and goes, then, I mean, nobody wants to we don't want to spend money, we don't want to spend anybody's money, we don't want to do any of that. But this is a list, we don't make the rules, this is a very specific list of things that just have to be done, enough time is came and gone.
I've had it's a shrine that was given to us by in-laws, and I had emailed, I think, the township that I wasn't willing to take that down. Had a statue of St. Francis in it.
I don't,
It was
this
so-
right here is what's,
Yeah,
this list right here is what, it's not our interpretation of everything, and it's, here's our code enforcement, this is what's against the codes. It's very black and white. There's nothing against you personally, there's nothing against any of that, it's just very black and white.
well, I've got a couple of friends that store their cargo trailers there free, which,
they're not
I
in the
did-
picture.
oh yeah, there was a cargo trailer in the picture. One of them,
What do you think?
one of them
Have
was
have a
used.
strict, clean plan of action next month? and That's 30 days to come up with a, well, yeah, and if it doesn't, then.
Pam, you gonna get him this report and a copy of it and then pictures, you gonna give that to him?
Yes, I can email it to him tonight if he'd like it. I can also mail it to you.
I appreciate a mail copy.
You bet.
Paper copy, yeah.
She could probably drop that off at the house.
Do we wanna just pay the money and have it certified so that we just have document that it was
I can
given
drop it
and we
off,
don't,
and
cause
that's certified enough, isn't it?
yeah,
Why don't-
well,
Do you have a dog? Okay, I can drop it.
we've heard a lot of times that I didn't get the report, the guy didn't get a hold of me, I just want everything black and white.
Yeah, why don't you email it and personally drop it off, Pam?
Okay.
And then, like I say, I mean, I drove down 99th here a week or two ago and looked in there. It kind of looks like Dirty Dave's up in St. Paul Park. Your neighbors, we haven't heard from Albrecht's in the north yet, but I'm sure they ain't happy either. We've heard from the ones in the south yet. You can talk about this little hunk or that little hunk or little, but you look at it. On one sense, I feel sorry for you because you probably got 40 dumpsters full of junk there. And they're about $600 a piece to empty them. So, I mean, you've got tens of thousands of dollars worth of junk to haul away.
Could I say something?
Sure, go ahead, yep.
the issue with this is that he sees the value, or the potential value, or the past value
Mm-hmm.
in every piece of everything. So it is a real struggle
Yeah,
for him to do this, and
We understand completely.
Yeah, just
It's
so-
not personal.
Oh, I
mean,
understand.
We're trying to work
And
as
I
best we
get it,
can,
and,
yeah.
you know, if you can't do it for your wife, you're gonna do it for your neighbor.
go ahead.
I just wanted to suggest that there are nonprofits that assist with these types of things. I know from a housing standpoint, I know of a couple of individuals who have had nonprofits come in and assist with that.
And,
So
know,
you might want to
like
check with
this.
Washington County to see if they're aware of anyone.
Okay, like
Yeah.
a person that would help, or like.
Yeah, actually a crew.
Actually come in. and
Yeah,
help.
I arranged for a home that needed to be emptied. They came in and did just a masterful job of getting it cleaned out.
Oh, people do.
But I would recommend that you call Washington County and ask them if they have any
All right,
recommendations.
thank you.
Is this based on financial need though?
No,
Oh, okay,
not necessarily, it depends on the organization, but
okay.
it was paid for. I wrote out a check for this to be done, but what it saved in terms of all sorts of time and logistics, it was worth every nickel to get it done.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe we'll even have, could our clerk call and find out about that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I planned on it, I'll.
Probably be good information to have. Good information to have.
I think also as far as a plan, my daughter had made up a plan, so you do have one.
That didn't work last time.
Yeah, the plan didn't work last time and it's falling a little behind.
Well,
1 year and a half after.
we had, last summer, 90 hours on a Bobcat, and there were
Yeah.
5 30-yard dumpsters that were hauled out, so there was some significant progress. I'm the only one that,
We can see the progress.
well, you didn't see what's
Well, you
gone,
didn't
you
see what's
only
gone.
see what's
Yeah.
left.
Which is plenty.
I understand you don't want to get rid of the stuff. I understand that, I get it. But here's where you don't want to end up.
Well, I've been-
Because this is what our attorney told us. This is what the code enforcement guy told us. This is what our attorney told us. Okay, he said if you don't get voluntary compliance, you go down this path. This is what he told us. He said you go to court, the judge will issue an order, the government, in this case, the town board, can come in, clean the place up, and then you gotta haul the stuff and store it for 2 months. And during the 2 months, you have the right to come and claim it. And after 2 months, then we can dispose of it. And we assess them fees against the property. I mean, you're looking at, I'm not trying to BS you, you're probably looking at $50,000, $60,000 if that happens. So is that crap worth $60,000?
A lot of it's been going, like I said, 5 30-yard dumpsters, and
Well, you got about 55 of them to go.
Months ago.
that was when we had a
Tracy,
Bobcat.
we don't wanna hear what happened, we wanna know what you're gonna do coming up.
Yeah, I just got a Bobcat back to use. I wasn't supposed to be allowed to use it, but when the owner got called back to work, he said, okay to use it. And I moved probably, I don't know, Paul said dirt wasn't a problem, but I moved like 30 yards of mostly black dirt, so I can make a
So we're, as a board, we're agreeing to go against the advice of our code enforcement and our attorney to give you a month to figure out a good plan with a very short window to get it done, so that it doesn't cost township residents and it doesn't cost you extra money.
When you
So
say,
please work hard.
when you say a very short window,
Well, we're, a year and a half has came and gone, so
Oh,
we're
I
not looking for a
understand that.
7-month window anymore,
No,
we're looking for, and you're gonna fight snow now, you're gonna have this winter,
I
but
just want to have an end date. Do you have an
you guys are gonna give us an end date that's very respectable and reasonable, and then if you guys miss that end date, then it's on you
By when
guys.
do you want?
You know, it would have to have code enforcement walk through it.
Listen,
We'll be in the next meeting and give you an update.
And we want something in writing presented us, here's these items, here's when they're gonna be gone, and here's when you guys can have the code enforcement come out. And when that code enforcement comes out, if there's more issues, then it's gonna be to the attorney, and then it has to go the other route.
And then keep in mind, when spring comes up, you got road restrictions. So you got, what, how long do they last? 6 weeks? So you got a 6, 8 week window there, something like that, where they can haul a dumpster in, but they can't haul a dumpster out, so keep that in mind too.
Now's just the time frame right now,
Yeah,
because they just upped the load limits
yeah.
this week.
So anyway, come up with some plan, and when you do, we want to see evidence. You know, last month, here's the receipt, we hauled out 6 dumpsters.
I've been
It cost us $3,600.
working continuously since about a year and a half ago. When the Bobcat's not present, available, it's a little slower. I've had,
Well, it all got hauled in without a Bobcat.
All right,
Okay.
we've agreed to
Yeah.
an action. on
Okay.
that, so.
Yeah. Okay, do we want to go to new business?
Yep.
Okay, there's, in your packet is the resolution 2024-1, appointing election judges for the March 5th, 2024 presidential nomination primary. And if you go past that, you can see who they all are. And Pam, if you can hear me, I know you can. There's 2 co-heads, election judges. One is Joe Miller and one is Chris White. Lynn Utek is election judge. Amy Shaw is an election judge. Lori Kurzweski, is that, who is that? She's an election judge. Shira McCauley is election judge. Galena Gladys Oken, election judge. Now, I don't know if they are still going to want to do that, but I think they would, because
They are.
I think she
Yeah.
just
I think
asked
they
them.
have fun
Yeah,
with it.
she asked, these
Yeah,
are
she
the ones
asked them.
that volunteered to do it.
They volunteered, I've already
Yep.
Oh,
confirmed with
okay.
them. We just need to
And it's at the town hall.
Make a motion to,
make a motion to pass these as being our judge.
Okay, I'll make a motion to pass Resolution 2024-01 regarding election judges.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution to compensate town officers.
I'll second that.
Yeah,
Can I
that's,
ask a clarifying question on that resolution?
Sure.
I guess what kind of work, like where would the line be as far as what type of work would be
it's out of,
compensatable?
out of this town. Like, if you gotta go to Stillwater, for example, to the courthouse for something. Unless that's, like, we don't charge to go see our attorney. We take our personal cars.
So you're talking mileage reimbursement, Paul, I think, right?
Right, we
Yep.
don't ask for that
Right,
to go see the attorney. Usually he
Which-
comes close to us.
yeah, I think how I read the resolution was a little bit, I interpreted it differently, so I don't know if others
Any-
have something to add.
Let me chime in on that. What happened before is they told us, this is when Cheryl was clerk, if any of us board members were gonna do work for the township, we had to pass a resolution. I thought there was another form, but this is what we can find. Otherwise, they couldn't pay us or we couldn't do it. So that's why I brought up to Pam.
This was like, yeah, putting up a sign, or if we went and did stuff,
Or
we could do it
Cutting trees.
instead of
or-
hiring somebody else. That's kind of what I thought it
Putting in
was.
terms.
And it would have to be agreed upon prior.
Yeah, I don't, I don't see it being a big thing. It's just if somebody, let's just say Dan worked all day long doing something for us. Prior to this, we couldn't pay him. Well, it was a gray area, because we do have we have an ordinance for pay for us, which we did put language in there that we can pay above and beyond our monthly stipend. But I think this makes it more legal.
So
I
with
don't
this-
know, I don't think there's anything that any of us did in 2023 that we'd have probably put in for money for. I mean, me and Dan spent a half a day cutting
Trees,
trees,
clearing
but,
roads,
but
we
then
just-
so did
we
other
just do that.
people. and-
Okay, so for example, I know, Dick, you mentioned you're working on the ordinance with Pam. Is
Yeah.
that something that would be billable to the township, like all the hours you're putting in on that? That's kind of what
I-
I'm clarifying, because that's how
I'm
I
not-
read it.
I'm not gonna, because we pretty much
It's-
volunteered to do it.
It's less than a mile away from his house.
He's not talking mileage, he's talking hourly wage. Like if he spent 10 hours working on that document, he's
That
talking
would-
that would be billable
The-
hours.
I don't
The-
think,
Theoretically, I
that's part
could,
of-
but I
You'd
volunteered to
have
do
to bring
that.
that, you'd have to bring that to us though to approve that prior. You
Yeah.
couldn't just do that and then send in a bill.
Yeah,
And I don't know if we want to put like a ceiling on it to say up to 10 hours a month or like something. I just don't know if there's more hours than that, it's probably more worth our time to hire
No.
somebody who's a professional at whatever the duty is. But,
no,
Because,
this is just to give us the ability to pay somebody if we want
Okay.
to.
and it has to, they need to approve it.
Prior
They
approval.
can't just
Yeah.
go willy-nilly work 10
Yeah.
hours.
right,
With,
Yeah.
they need to get it approved before they go do
Proactively.
it.
It'd be like,
So
Okay.
there's your ceiling. You're
Right.
not gonna,
Yeah.
they're
Okay.
gonna,
And like I say, the ordinance update, me and Pam volunteered to do that, so it's kind of,
yeah, because that would be my other point or thought would be
Yeah.
that we have a planning commission who has volunteered their time as well.
yeah.
You know, all of them declined to pay when we looked at that resolution earlier this year, so
Yeah.
making sure we're leveraging that group of people with their talents and time so that it's not all falling on the people in this, sitting up here.
Yeah.
So leveraging some of those folks as well, depending on what the task or the duty is. So maybe it's even, you know, getting quotes for ABC, you know, you have the planning commission do some of that or something,
Yeah.
I don't know. But, because I know you guys do spend a lot of time outside of township meetings, and I don't want to discredit that, but just want to make sure we're talking through what it means.
to me, none of that's like, yeah,
Billable or,
I don't think you can do that unless you come in and say, hey, I'm going to meet, I want to get paid, but I'd sure hope nobody would agree to that.
okay, that's what I wanted to
We
clarify.
we don't have the budget for that.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Okay, all in favor of that?
aye.
What's next? Oh,
We go back to the appointment of committees. So I'll read the names off. SWCTC is Dick Polta, Cemetery is Patty.
we volunteered you. She said she couldn't get a hold of you.
The Planning Commission is Eduardo Valencia, Amy Shaw, Jake Jones, Ryan Sargi, and Eric Folsom. Robust, Dan Sebaskowitz. Is that his kid? Or is that somebody completely different?
This guy lives
Dan
down on
Spaskowitz is
99th.
the only man I know that's been our road boss since I've been clerk.
Oh, okay. And he's right down here, right down
Yeah.
99th? Okay. Weed inspector is Ted.
We'll be
Animal
expecting a
control,
report.
companion animal, we,
I might have some bills to submit.
huh?
I might have some bills to submit.
That's voluntary.
Snow plowing is Bulow Excavating. It's usually his kid. Official newspaper is Twin Cities Pioneer Press. Polling place, the bulletin board on the town hall. Township attorney is Johnson Turner. Website admin is the town clerk. Building inspector is Minspec. Town depository is US Bank.
Okay, I'll just add one thing on that cable, that SWCTC, that South Washington County Telecommunications Commission. If anybody in the township wants to do that, let us know. Dan was doing it, and he was too busy, and he
You get
bailed out
paid
on it, and I'm
big
doing it.
bucks.
Yeah,
You get paid,
every other month, yeah. But if anybody's interested, let us know. We can,
not by us, you get paid by them,
yeah,
just to be clear.
every other month you'll get $75. The off months you get pizza,
You need a large coffee before you go to one of the meetings to stay awake.
yeah.
Just kidding.
How long are they?
No,
every other month. They're in Cottage Grove City Hall and then Woodbury City Hall.
We just don't have the technology, so it doesn't apply to us, basically.
Yeah, most of it applies to Cottage Grove and Woodbury.
They
but
got a lot of
it-
interest.
I learned some stuff being on there, you know, you always pick up something here and there, but I just, it takes time away from this and time away from other stuff to be there. Like tomorrow, I gotta leave work early to go to the meeting at 5, you know, kinda.
Leave work early?
Yeah, my bus job, I'm just,
Oh, your bus job.
yeah, the kids don't get all the way home, I gotta leave early, they just drop them off in the corner. I had something else on this too.
You got anything else before we adjourn?
Well, you need to, you got a motion and a second, or you got a motion, you gotta make a motion and a second.
Oh, I'll make a motion
Appointing.
to accept the appointments that we have listed and we read off.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 I'm sorry, you don't have other on there.
Good, motion to adjourn.
Well, wait a minute. Wait,
Oh.
I got a question for Sue, right?
Yes.
Now, I know you don't have any authority over this, but being on the Met Council, you know, this official newspapers everybody has to have. That is about the most outdated thing that ever hit the face of the earth. Okay, what this is for people at home, anytime any municipality does something, you gotta publish it in a newspaper. Well, how many people get the newspaper anymore? Virtually, about 5%? Okay, so they don't see the public notice. What would be nice is if the state, now Pioneer Press will fight this tooth and nail, I would think it'd be nice if the state had a website, that all these public notices went to that website. You could go to that website, scroll down to the county you're in, scroll down to municipality, and see if there's any public notices in there.
I think it's a great idea.
And
As you were talking about it, that's kind of what I was thinking was a common site. You could
Yeah.
organize it by county statewide.
yeah, right.
I don't think the Pioneer Press is going to do it.
Well, it wouldn't be just the Pioneer Press. You'd have all sorts of regional and local newspapers. You'd have the Star Tribune.
It's called
But-
lobbying.
Yeah,
But it's not a bad idea to talk to legislators about it.
yeah. Or if the
Would
subject
you
ever
be-
comes up at,
Pardon?
Would you be keen to asking that?
I'm not in a position to, that's not, I don't want to seem indifferent to your concerns, because I get it. But I'm not in a position to do that. We don't deal with legislation outside our, if you will, wheelhouse.
Oh, great.
We deal with planning, transit, waste treatment, regional parks and trails. And beyond that, it would be really inappropriate for me to do that. I was asked by another elected official from a local city council a couple years ago to lobby on behalf of eliminating taxes for retirees. And as much as I love to do that, I had to explain to him that no, that's not something I can do, you know. So I think you ought to.
That's
It's a
why
nice
you're
guy.
failing. That's why you're failing.
That's why I'm failing, yeah, that's right. They did reduce it for some. But you guys know your state legislators, I hope.
Yeah.
I think you should talk to them about it.
Mr. Rick?
yeah,
Great, thanks.
damn, no.
Okay. Well, I just want to add that there's a cost for those papers to print those too. And at the risk of sounding cynical, I'm a strong believer in our press, print, televised, radio, all of it. But there's a cost for them when they have to print those. And when I go to the store and buy a weekday paper that I might not be getting at my door, I'm spending $2 or $3. Well, I've gotten to the point where I sit and I count the number of pages that are paid for by somebody else that I'm paying for. And it's kind of like, wait a minute. Now, this is not the Met Council speaking. This is just Sue Vento
Yeah.
kind of rambling away here and using up your time. But I totally get what you're saying.
Well, the big thing is people don't see them, they don't see the notices. You know, it's-
Well, St. Paul has a legal ledger. I think it's, for legal reasons, they have to publish a number of things. Mostly it seem like foreclosures.
So, Anything else?
My motion still stands to adjourn.
Well, maybe we want to stay here a while.
I don't.
Okay, I'll second it.
All in favor of adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.